Welcome to Helping Hands with your hosts, John Neiman and Judy Ritchie.
Hello and welcome to Helping Hands. This is our opportunity to let you in the community, let you in the community know how you can lend a helping hand to a program or an agency in need. I'm Judy Ritchie, a community advocate.
I'm John Neiman with Aurora Medical Center, and welcome to our June edition of Helping Hands. We're glad that you could be here and join us for this. Where can you see us? Where can you hear us? You can see us online. We're at CATV2. We're also on the radio at 101.9 FM. Also, go to oshkoshmedia.org to check out their schedule of all the wonderful shows that are on CATV2 besides Helping Hands. We're grateful for the support that we get. Our set design floral is from Harnix, and our show sponsor, our monetary sponsor who helps us put this show on this is our 14th year, is Aurora Healthcare, so we're very grateful for them for that also. It's the wonderful month of June. Everything is growing, including the dandelions, but I look at dandelions as floral, so that's okay. I don't have to pick them or get rid of them. Also, we're going to comment on, because I can't stop looking at the set, the new curtains that we have, which really bring things out. I look like I'm tan, so I love the new curtains that we got here. Judy, want to introduce our first guest?
I will, and she's a returning guest, somebody that is really important to bring the news to the community on one of our great historical pieces in the community, Carla Sakaris, who is the Marketing and Membership Coordinator at the Oshkosh Public Museum. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you.
And as I said, you've been with us several times, and there's always something new going on at the museum. It's not always the same old, same old.
That's right. There's a lot of changes going on at the museum right now.
And you want to tell us a couple of them?
Well, the big thing that we're doing now is a complete gallery redesign on the first floor. It used to be wetlands and waterways. Mm-hmm. We took that gallery out in 2016 during the summer, and have been working for the past year and bringing a new interactive exhibit called People of the Waters. And it will explore prehistoric and early life in this region for about the last 13,000 years. It'll be really, really neat. It starts with the Ice Age and goes all the way up to the fur trade.
I was so used to going in there. One of my volunteers, when I was at the Paint Arts Center, Clarice Teklo, her son, the DNR, Art was there.
Yes.
Was always there, and she was so proud of having him. What did you do with Art?
Art got himself back.
He did. That was always a nice way. She was so proud that he was there to greet the people now. Okay.
Well, and before we started the show, we were talking about something that John and I remember as we were kids with the school tours or going with the family, the Apostle Clock.
Yes.
And you said there are some challenges right now.
There are. For the past few months, the Apostle Clock hasn't been working. A interior gear quit operating, and it's not something that you can just repair with new. You need to fix it in a manner that will preserve the integrity and history of the clock. So it's a lot more labor intensive to get it back and running. But we do have our retired and returned exhibit technician currently working on it. So we hope to have it back and running soon.
And that must be a challenge, especially, people are finding that out in churches today and other places too with their organs. I'm finding that out with stained glass windows. There are less and less people who used to take care of them and make them now, and you want them restored exactly the way they were. So I can see the challenge that you're having. And I think hats off to you for keeping the integrity.
Yes.
Because you could go and put new mechanisms and all that in and nobody would know. But to keep the integrity is really cool, because that is really a neat clock.
Well, and with the museum, as large as it is, with as many different things going on, and everything. You always need volunteers.
Yes. We have a number of volunteer opportunities. Of course, with People of the Waters, a number of volunteers were instrumental in doing the research and the artifact care and preservation and making them display ready. And we had a number of volunteers that helped research and basically time date the pieces. It's kind of telling a circle of time from Paleo Indians up to the more current woodland and the fur trade era. So making sure that these artifacts are displayed in the proper timeline, so to speak, is very important. And then one of the interactive components is a touch screen that you will be able to find out deeper history on this piece. And then we'll have a virtual exhibit online that will give you even more information if you want to do even further research on the different pieces on display and just the history of early people in this region as well.
So on our screen for our TV audience and then for our radio audience, you've talked about the special projects, the cool behind the scenes things like the research and all of that.
Right.
There's other projects listed that you use volunteers for?
Yeah, we have a number of mailings we do throughout the year, our quarterly newsletter, also just regular membership mailings that we sometimes need help with stuffing. Like I said, the newsletter is 4 times a year, so that's something that we sometimes reach out to. Also our holiday exhibit. It's really, over the years, has become a true community event. So not only do we reach out to the community to help fill the windows, help us decide what do we want to put on display in the exhibit, but then they help coming to the museum and transforming it into a beautiful holiday theme. The holiday exhibit encompasses decorating the entire museum for the holidays.
So if you think it's a big deal at home, wait till you go over there.
Well, I always admired it too because I was at the Paint Art Center
Yes.
as like you with multiple titles,
yeah.
and that was one of the things too was to get the trees decorated
Yes.
alone. You need lots of volunteers
Yes.
who love to do that stuff. Otherwise, you're just overwhelmed with it all.
Exactly. And they're larger than we are.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you're appealing to certain people now because it could be a one-time volunteer opportunity during the holidays to do.
Correct.
And a lot of volunteers we're finding out these days like the one-time things
Yes.
Or
because it's
short term.
because they don't like that word commitment.
Right.
You know, so that's really cool to have that for them.
Yeah.
Well, but you do have a long-term opportunity.
We
for
do.
Really specialized.
Right. We have 2 separate kind of long-term. Our exhibit docents are a little bit shorter term, but still considered long-term. We have a number of temporary exhibits throughout the year, usually about 3. And so exhibit docents will be that face in the gallery, kind of monitoring what we have on display, as well as being able to offer more information about the exhibit itself, and just any general questions that they may have. But with our new People of the Waters, we're looking to take the exhibit docent a step further, knowing that we're going to have a lot of people coming into this beautiful new exhibit. We're going to offer training so they can give group tours through the exhibit, especially being it's going to be a huge school field trip destination.
I bet it will be.
Yeah.
And you find too that you're meeting another need because a lot of volunteers want the educational component to
Correct.
something.
Yes.
And so by offering the docents that, you're giving them something else
Right.
to look at and to do. So
Yeah.
your regular docents that you have right now, is there a specific training period for them, like classes?
Not classes.
Okay.
We do it usually a couple weeks to a week before an exhibit.
Okay.
So they can get that full understanding of maybe the artists that we're displaying, the time period we're trying to tell a story of, whatever the theme of the exhibit is.
Well, the other thing that I was thinking about were the collections.
Yes, the collections and archival materials is a much more long-term commitment, a minimum of a year, preferably even longer than that. You do need specialized training for that, whether you've are going to school. We get a lot of college students that need that intern opportunity. We don't have the ability to do a lot of paid internships, so most of them come on as a volunteer basis just to gain the experience. We also have some seasoned museum professionals that have done this for a long, long time and are just looking to somewhat stay engaged with what they used to do in their career. So they'll come on and either help with the research, help with just the collections care and management. We have a number of volunteers that are either going to their grad program or are just finishing up their undergrad, and they are helping recatalog and research and itemize our decorative arts, and then of course with the people of the waters, our Native American collections.
And you're located in the perfect location.
We are.
With UWO right down the
Right
street
down the
to help.
street, yeah.
Because I hear the same thing too with a lot of volunteers, because we get human services for us, where I can see you're utilizing the history.
More the history.
And that. But the bus route,
Yes.
for us to come all the way out to
Yeah.
where we are, it's perfect for you.
Many of them walk. Yeah,
Walking
yeah.
distance for you. That's a great location, and to utilize those college students like that, it's a great
Yeah.
experience because they're really
Right.
learning from the
Yeah.
best and doing
Yeah.
something that they
And
really
there aren't a
love.
lot of museums around, so it's kind of difficult for a lot of them to get that
Yeah.
hands-on experience to put on their resume.
Well, and the fact, and John said location, but another piece to that location is for a family to do a day trip or even a weekend, because you've got our museum, you've got the Payne, you've got Elkoma Boulevard Methodist Church with the
Yep.
Nativity
nativity
scene.
set,
Yeah.
and it's just a nice walking area because there are so many historical homes in that
And
area
that
too.
entire area, Algoma is the historic district, so that's really interesting to walk up and down as well.
So,
And the
it's-
university itself is
Yeah.
beautiful to
Yes.
walk.
Yeah,
Right.
the grounds are beautiful.
Yeah.
Especially now, we're talking the month of June, so
Yes.
everything should be in full bloom or getting
Yeah,
there
yeah,
and beautiful.
yeah.
And as the school's out now, so less traffic down
Yeah.
by the university.
Correct.
So you can do that walk. And then if you want lunch, you go down to Fratello's or go
Yeah.
to the Morgan House at the farmer's market and get your pie or whatever. But
That's right.
it truly is a nice. And the grounds, your grounds are beautiful too. They're gorgeous. And I
Yeah.
see people with graduation pictures and all that there.
Yes,
because
we
it's-
have a lot of prom, graduation, wedding, and we just redid the entire landscaping on the front of the grounds.
Oh.
So what was the original entrance to the
Yep.
historic Sawyer home, that entire side has been redone. Beautiful new urns that we planted with flowers this year. And then in future years, we'll do the rest of the grounds.
Judy, we were all talking before the show. That's when all the good stuff happens before they actually tape it. But I lived in Oshkosh my entire life, and I don't think I went to the public museum till it was a school trip. And I know it's the same way. Sometimes you have these gems and jewels in your
Yeah.
city, but more visitors come to see it
Yes.
than their own occupants. And I
Yeah.
think the museum has changed that because of the exciting exhibits that have been there, now, even Grandma's Attic.
Yes.
But the interactive and all of that stuff really does bring the people of Oshkosh back in to see these jewels that we do have.
Exactly,
Well-
yeah. So it starts with People of the Waters, but then our next venture is to completely revamp the second floor. So where Grandma's Attic and the Pioneer Cabin and Civil War, all of that, the entire second floor is going to be revamped and rethought. Again, visitors nowadays want to be entertained. And so what can we do to still get across the stories we want people to walk away with, but in a little bit more interactive manner.
Well, and it's, again, I think back to when I was a kid, the school trips. But a lot of the places that the museum, the pain, whatever, were not child-friendly other than as part of school groups. And that's all changed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someone in high school, if they've got a passion for history or for whatever, they can come and spend the whole day there just exploring.
I know. I remember telling the docents, tell the kids to touch with their eyes, touch with their, touch with their eyes. But because of iPods and video games and all of that, they want that interactive, and I think that's great to bring that into the museum. Now, we only have a couple minutes left. Is there anything that you want to stress? How about your contact information if people are interested? Then what do you want to stress?
Yeah, our contact information, you can find out everything that is going on at the museum at oshkoshmuseum.org. You can contact our general line, which is 920-236-5799, or you can email us at museum@ci.oshkosh. I don't even know what it is anymore.
It's
museum.
long.
It is. It's long. I have to think about it when I type it myself.
So if they put Public Museum in the search
Public
engine.
Museum, yeah. Then if you want to contact me directly about volunteer, I'm at 920-236-5763.
Perfect. And so the need for the summer, would that just be continuing with what you're doing?
Right. Right now, our summer needs are more on the exhibit docent side. We've already filled all of our collections and archival volunteer positions. That's something that we do earlier in May to fill the summer spots.
Okay.
So we don't have anything available right then, but possibly this fall or winter something may open again.
Okay. So we're trying to say, come down to Algoma, the Oshkosh Public Museum, see what's there, see what's changing, and be a part of it. So
exactly.
And we're so glad that you could be with us again. We love the updates of what's changing and what's new, and especially interactive stuff.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be back for our second segment of our June edition of Helping Hands.
It's not a charity, it's more than a charity. It's about helping people we live with. It's about being the type of person that the 6-year-old version of ourselves wanted us to be. It's about community and looking out for one another. It's about money, yes, but it's so much more than money. It's about friendship and common values. It's about opening doors when others are slammed shut. It's about giving kids a place to be kids and growing up knowing they live in a community that cares about them. It's about making sure that everyone gets to see the dentist, because we want to make sure that they have every last tooth in those smiles. Ultimately, that's it. It's about the smiles, old smiles and new smiles. It's about us, all of us, our community living united, because great things happen when we live united. Will you join us?
Welcome back to Helping Hands. This is our opportunity to talk to you about volunteer opportunities in our wonderful community, what's going on, things that you might be interested in, especially now since it's the very busy month of June. There is a first-time event that we're going to talk about that Aurora is sponsoring. Aurora already has their traditional Lombardi Cancer Walk at Lombardi Park, But this is the first time that the Aurora Clinic in Fond du Lac is going to have a walk. And the date of that walk is June 24th, and it will take place in Lakeside Park. And so that's really kind of exciting news for people. People love to get out and walk, and they love to support causes. And so our cancer services there asked if they could have a walk, and
it is beautiful down there. It is a perfect setting.
yes.
You've got the lighthouse, you've got the lagoon. My older daughter remembers going down there and feeding the ducks. And
Yes.
they've got the memorial bench, all sorts of good things.
Animals,
Absolutely.
some vendors. Yeah, it really is a nice thing. And I think it's great that to watch things grow, to things start out, and now they've grown so much that they want to do this and have their first annual. So if you're interested in more information on the Lombardi Walk from Aurora in Fond du Lac, it's June 24th. And you can go online and look, just go to lombardywalk.org, and you can get more information there to register. But it's Saturday, June 24th, and we promise you good weather for that.
That's the week after Walleye Fest, so it
Hopefully
better be good.
the park will be all clean and everything will be ready for it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I know it's the month of June, but we just want to announce something too. So I have our red, white, and blue blanket here again. And what are we announcing with this, Judy?
I don't know. I think there's something called a 4th of July parade.
Yes, exactly. I don't even know how many years we've been doing it.
A long time.
Yes, somebody asked, and I said I couldn't count. So,
But I think it's important to, we're doing this as volunteers. But the parade committee are all volunteers also. And they're the veterans of the Vietnam War. And really neat group of people, very passionate about what they're doing. And it's a great way to honor our country.
and I think that's important what you said too, because they're volunteers, but they've been planning this parade
From the day after last year's.
from the day after. They get one day maybe to rest after Sawdust Days is done, and then they're planning it again. And we both love this event in downtown Oshkosh because the patriotism there, the pride is there. It's just a wonderful, especially with everything going on in our world today. Sometimes it's nice for us to step back and remember how we got the rights and freedoms that we have and who gave their life for it and served for it. And that makes us so proud. So.
Right. And one of the things is, when we talk about the Vietnam veterans are the ones that are the committee with this. And you think back to when they went to war, when they came home, they were spit upon, they were not very welcome.
Ignored, yeah.
And one of the really nice things that I see now is that we're recognizing what a terrible loss that was for those, those men and women. And if you've ever been to Washington, D.C. with the Vietnam Wall, and in some ways it's the granite wall in a hole, and that's what it is. No, it's not. It is a huge piece of history. And I've been out there. I've been to the traveling wall. I have a brother and multiple cousins who served over there, lots of friends. And so that was a big deal. Now we've got all these wars, military actions around the world, and the people who are coming back broken. And we need to be very cognizant of that and to be very supportive of them and the horrors that they've endured. So I get on my soapbox with that, and I don't apologize for it.
Well, no, and I do think that that is a chance for us to thank them, especially as you see these groups marching in the parade. And with some of the groups, they're getting smaller and smaller. I was just talking to a patient who was waiting the other day at Aurora, and she's part of the Elks group, and she was commenting how the Elks used to have a big contingent walking and then a big contingent riding.
And now they're riding.
Yes, and it's kind of sad because people with volunteering today are looking more for one-time or special volunteering, and it's hard to find those people that are committed all year round, like the 4th of July parade committee who's committed to doing this.
Right.
So hats off to them, hats off to us, because you'll be seeing us 4th of July downtown Oshkosh doing the commentary for the parade. Then there's one more thing I need to bring up. We have been on the air for 14 years.
And we got something kind of special.
Really special, because we've gotten in the past from the Midwest Media Fest, we've gotten the awards of merit and awards of achievement. But this year we got the award of excellence. And I was talking to the woman who helped with that when I ordered the trophies. And in the talk show category, there were only 3 awards of excellence awarded. And that one of them was to us.
And it's important to say that we're not competing just against Wisconsin. We're competing against the Midwest. And we really have to give a lot of credit to the staff and volunteers at OCM. It's not just us. It's all these other volunteers and the friends of OCM who helped to come up with some of the financial support.
Right. Yeah, especially, and I do have to say that too, because the people who helped us put the show on for all these years, it does cost money to put the show on, so I really appreciate it. I presented the award to Aurora because Aurora has been our sponsor for all these years now. But it meant a lot. It took 14 years to do it, but we did it, and that just meant a lot to us, and also to the topic of volunteering and volunteerism, which is what the show is based on and why the show was started, was to promote everything going on in Event City, which is Oshkosh. So. And
it's not just the one-time things. It's a lot of ongoing things, be it in the hospital or delivering meals or volunteering at the museum. There's volunteering in the schools. Just so much to do. And there's lots of ways to volunteer from home. So the prayer shawls and all the different things that way.
And now, we are in the midst of summer where parents are looking at, I need to keep my kids busy and my kids need to do things. So they're volunteering. And that's really great. But again, as we go back to it, you have to watch what agency you're going to, because there are different restrictions. You can't just knock on the door of some place and say, I'm here to volunteer, because there are certain restrictions. As we've talked about, the background check, there's health, safety, HIPAA, and privacy. You also have to make sure that the volunteering is a fit for especially youth. I'm passionate about that, because if you put a youth in a job that they don't like, they're going to have a bad attitude toward that job and volunteering. So give them something that they really like to do. Now there are agencies in town that will accept volunteers to come and do things. Like the Paint Arts Center, because they always need people to weed. And I remember when we used to call volunteers in to plant the thousands of tulip bulbs. It takes a lot of people to do that. But if you're interested in volunteering in a nursing home, a group home, a hospital, we have certain requirements that need to be done before you can come in and volunteer.
Right. And it isn't always the structured volunteer with an agency. It can also be helping your neighbor. We were talking earlier about my neighbor who broke her foot and how a group of us have been helping out. In the wintertime, shoveling snow for the neighbor.
I just saw that on the screen and I am shaking my head. We are in the midst of June and we're talking about shoveling sidewalks, which could be an omen with the weather that we've had.
We've had the warm and the cold.
But there's always things to do for everyone. So our cameraman is telling us we need to wrap it up. This edition went fast. So we're glad that you could be with us for our June edition of Helping Hands. I'm John Neiman with Aurora Medical Center.
And Judy Ritchie, Community Advocate.
Thank you for being with us, and stay tuned again for our July show.